Hey everyone, we've made some changes to the 3D Compute Manager and we're going to give you a tour of what's new. The main thing being the way we visualize jobs on this platform. Before we'd have the nodes sort of shift around and change position to accommodate the size of the jobs, but because we want the nodes to stay in position because they're physical hardware that doesn't really move, we've adjusted it so that when you create a bunch of jobs that are going to take up multiple lines, they will shift and change shape to accommodate for them.
Nice work, Xander.
Thank you very much. This is a lot of maths involved, but the end result is that when you create a bunch of big jobs, they're just going to shift and change shape. And when you queue them up, they know exactly what to do.
All right, and how do they respond to dragging?
Yeah, when you click and drag them, I think to a space you can actually drag them to. Yeah, so this still works just as intended. They do the little shifting, and this shows you, okay, we need this many new nodes before we can run this job, which is great. You can see exactly how big the job is in relation to the nodes. The other thing we've changed is the spaces look a bit different. We've made them a little more hollow. They look like fences with a transparent middle, and that shows you that it's like an abstract space instead of a physical part of your hardware.
Okay, and so spaces, we're talking about groupings of GPUs within a cluster.
So because they're like defined abstractly in the software, they're not real physical assets. We've made them a little bit more transparent.
All right, now we've got three kinds of spaces. So you're always going to start with the white kind, right?
Yeah.
And that is basically just unallocated or hot spare. These are nodes that are available for use for anything. And then we've got three other kinds. Do you want to go through those?
Yeah. So we've got this time-cycled space where you can queue up a bunch of jobs and they'll run in a time-cycled manner, which means it will, when it's safe to do so, it'll kick some jobs out of the running and let some of the queued ones come in, basically giving everything a share of the compute.
Cool. And then we've got our yellow space, our yellowy-orange space, which is our dedicated space, which is pretty similar to the way a SLURM cluster would work, where the jobs just run until they're done, and then they sit and they wait in the queue, and they just get bin packed into the space.
Yeah, of course.
And then the blue ones.
Yeah, the blue ones are workstation spaces. This is where, when you start up a container on the Strong Compute platform, this is where they're going to end up. So these light blue ones are the containers. They sit exclusively in these blue workstation spaces. This lets you define which of your hardware, which of your nodes are allowed to be used for containers.
Very cool. And there's a final space, the red space, which isn't shown here because we don't have anything in the red space, but
there we go.
All right, so now we can see that every cluster would have had an unallocated space, but we do have a red space which is empty, and that is for...
That's unhealthy nodes.
Unhealthy nodes, which we will expect to see start to get populated in the future.
Yeah, when you're running a lot of demanding jobs, you're going to end up with some hardware that fails, and that's where they'll get pulled out of your spaces. They'll go into the unhealthy, and you'll be able to see what's wrong with them.
Awesome. All right, now you've done a lot of work on the console.
Yeah. So the way this console is working is this will basically expose the REST API that allows you to interact with all of the hardware yourself if you have the right authorization. Currently, it's working for the region-based operations. So if we were to go to create a region like this, we can see that it will paste the command into the console. So post regions create with the appropriate body parameters. And if you were to go into your own program and create a REST API with the right endpoint and the right API key, this would be exactly what happens.
All right, so this is one-to-one with our real API for anyone who wants to automate the cluster. And can we do that now if I wanted to make a new region? Type that in?
Yeah, you could. This is still in the sandbox. I'm pretty sure it works on live as well. If I was just to go post/regions/create, like this. We need to give it a name. It's a required parameter. If we just try and run this, it's going to tell us we're missing a name. We're going to call this one Ben's region without an apostrophe. And if we hit create, there you go.
Hey, there it is. All right, so this is letting people actually learn the API without having to read any docs or anything. They can just play in the UI.
Yeah, it's super cool. As you muck around with the 3D interface, it's just going to show you exactly what command it's running. And that works in both the sandbox and in the live mode for whatever you're going to be allowed to do on live data.
Yeah, right. Really nice. Any other functions you can show us that working for?
Yeah, right now we can do, I think, clusters. So you can make some clusters and it will pump all of the different numbers in. Most of these only work in the demo mode because in live you can only define how many GPUs per node, and then you got to assign it some agents and that whole thing.
Yeah, and then the agents will then go figure out how much storage is actually on the node. And
yeah, exactly. Yeah, and you can also do it with spaces as well. So if I wanted to make like 4 spaces with 2 nodes, it's just going to paste the command 4 times.
Yeah, right.
Because that's exactly how it works.
That's exactly how it works.
So yeah, the region operations work. You can delete the spaces. It'll do the delete command as well. You can update something like the number of minutes per cycle. That'll put a put command. All of those region-based ones still work, and we're working on getting that working with data sets and jobs soon.
Really cool.
Thank you very much.
All right. Is that all we've got for this week?
That's all for this week.
Awesome. Thanks, Sander.
Thank you, Ben.